Hey gang, Joyce with Skipping Calves Farms. I've just stepped just a few, maybe 40 or 50 yards from the water, just back to the back side of the sand dunes. You can see the sea oats there. You can see the sea grapes. This is the natural vegetation on the island that has been here ever since I started coming, which was in the early 70s. Once you get behind the dunes now, those sea grapes are probably 5 or 6 feet above sea level, and they're just a few feet from the beach. Where you see that little tough palmetto, I'm having a little hard time seeing because I've got sunglasses on, right there in the middle. That's right at the edge of the beach proper. And as we pan around here, you can see these small palm trees with the round tops on them. Those are cabbage palms. That's a state tree of the state of Florida. The native Indians would climb up to the top of the cabbage palm, and out of that heart of that ball on the top of the tree would be a big heart of plant material that was very much like cabbage, and that's why they call them cabbage palms. The only problem was when they cut the cabbage out of the heart of the tree, it usually almost virtually always killed the tree. When there were just a few native Indians and there were millions and millions of cabbage palms, it really didn't matter. Now as you look down here, you can see the surface is mostly just shell, and it's got a little grayish look to it, and it's very hard packed. It's almost like walking on concrete back here. Even though just a few feet away I was walking in soft sand and digging down 3 or 4 inches every step I took. You can tell that these shells have been exposed to sun and wind and rain because there's no color to them. They're all going gray because the calcium carbonate, which they're made out of, is slowly being dissolved by the rain and the moisture and the dew. But this is what it looks like, the growth in the center of the island, back behind the dunes. What do we have here? Well, those are prickly pears. Those are prickly pear cactus. They grow here naturally. It's not the right time of year for you to see any fruit, but those are prickly pears, and in the springtime you'll have a red fruit that's kind of oblong and about that size and shape, and they're edible. Critters like them, Indians like them. I never ate them growing up because we tried to not leave evidence of our passing. When I try to walk on the dunes, when I try to walk back here, I try to make it done in such a way that you can't tell I was here. Because my attitude is, this is God's earth. This is God's place. And I am an ambassador for Him. And my job is not to throw my personal weight around, but to be an ambassador for Him. And to do what's right, and to do what's good, and to be, as we were originally called to be, stewards of this land. A lot of a modern society could learn an awful lot from some of the native peoples of the native lands. They lived in conjunction with, not always, but many times, lived in conjunction with and in a certain balance with the nature around them. Why? Because if they destroyed the nature around them, they starved. Here we got, see if I can, yeah, there we go. That's a little baby periwinkle. Isn't that cute? A little tiny periwinkle. It's probably one of the few that are growing back after, all the salt came through with the hurricanes in the last few years. It takes a year or two of rains to wash some of the salt off the top layer and rinse it down so that the plants that are naturally growing back here behind the dunes. So you can see the water's right there. I mean, it looks like it's a ways away, but the water's really just right there. It's less than 50 yards away, and it could as easily be 2 miles away. But those sea grapes that you see along there are the ones that you see at the top of the beach. They're the ones that stabilize the dunes and create the ecosystems behind, which is what we're walking through now. Backside of the dunes in the middle of the island. And it's almost a semi-arid kind of environment because it is such sandy soil that even when you get rain, the rain just soaks into the soil. It doesn't stay. And you can see how light the soil is. So there's no organic matter that stays. Now if you look right, see if I can get that. I can't see very well on my phone, but there should be a honeybee right there. The honeybees, and I apologize, I don't remember what this plant is, but the honeybees are working it. And if you look right over here, you see that mound of dirt? You see that little hole? That's a gopher tortoise hole. And all of these vines over here are just buzzing with honeybees. So even though it looks barren, it's full of life. And nature has her ways. And they're her animals that come and go. And they're little tiny flowers. And they're going after the nectar of the fall flowers. And they're all over these bushes. And like I said, I do apologize. I don't remember what they're called, but I'm going to try and see if I can find out and get back with you on it. And here's another gopher tortoise hole. It may have a rattlesnake in it. They oftentimes will go and inhabit gopher holes. So you really don't want to go poking around too often. We got some palmettos over here, and so you can kind of see it's just flat and rocky, and there's no water, but that doesn't mean there's no life. If you ever get a chance to get some sea grape jelly, you ought to get some. It's good stuff. So with that, I think I'm gonna sign off here for a few minutes and continue my walk. And with that, I'll wish you blessings for the day, and whatever you do, just keep chasing your dream.